Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to week 4 again of College Game Day here on TGFF. We are thankful to be back again alongside my co-host here, Jay Jacobs. We are ready for week number 4. So this is another great week of college football. We are excited to bring you guys the coverage from all around all of our conferences today. Jay, welcome back to the show, man. Thank you so much for joining again.
Appreciate it, Justin, and I hope everybody had a great weekend last weekend, and we're ready for some great football this weekend. Let's get to it.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna do our first segment. It's gonna be here. We're gonna be with our guy from the Southern Conference again. So we are gonna be looking at our guy SoCon John. He's gonna give us the recap from the week that was in the Southern Conference. Jay's also gonna be doing his segment this week as well, giving us a little bit of an update. But this segment is going to be also sponsored to you by our good friends at Arden's Burger and Grill. So we look forward to, again, partnering with them. We thank them for all their service and everything. So thank you so much, Arden. Shout out to your
Thanks, Justin, for introducing us. Of course, this is Jay. I'm here with SoCon John. We're bringing you the Southern Conference news and notes. And, John, great weekend last weekend here at Furman and against Stetson. What was your feelings about the game?
Well, I thought, the big play was obviously a big part of the offense. If you look at what Trey Hedden was able to do, and Joshua Harris had a huge day, best day in his career as far as receiving yards go. But I thought, the 50-yard touchdown to Ben Ferguson and I think a 51-yarder to Joshua Harris really kind of set the tone and allowed Furman to kind of separate itself from Stetson in that game. And it's funny because looking back, I think Scott and I were looking back over the notes. I think that's two of the longest over the past 2 years. Furman hadn't had, 2 of those in one game. So the explosive play is obviously going to be a new part of this offense that we really haven't seen over the past couple of years. And I think that's going to be exciting to see what Trey Hedden can do with that big arm of his down the road.
Now, also, we saw ETSU have a great game. What was your thoughts on that one?
Well, East Tennessee State, they had the game right there. I think they dropped maybe a couple interceptions. North Dakota State muffed the punt late in the game, and there's like 4 or 5 ETSU guys right there just unfortunately couldn't come up with the ball. And then North Dakota State gets the onside kick and able to go down and score. And I thought, for the game, East Tennessee State was the better team. Their running back, Bryson Irby, I think had 146 rushing yards with 3 touchdowns. An incredible day for him. And, ETSU is going to be a team to be reckoned with. And I think they showed that against North Dakota State. And I think it was a big win for the Southern Conference when you're looking down towards the postseason and looking towards conference strength. I think the SoCon, if North Dakota State is actually the number 2 team in the country, I think they kind of proved the product here, that the kind of football that's played here in the Southern Conference.
All right, now we go into a new week. What's your thoughts on the Western Carolina game up against Montana?
Well, obviously, being around Furman and knowing the Furman football program and Wofford back in 2007 went up there. So there is some familiarity with what Western Carolina is walking into at Washington Grizzly Stadium. One of the best atmospheres in FCS football. But I think, Western Carolina's veteran enough. Furman wasn't wowed by that crowd last year, so to speak, and they were able to hang in the game. And I think Cole Gonzalez is a good enough quarterback, an experienced enough quarterback that, the crowd and the noise, I don't think will bother him. So I think they'll be able to score some points. Turnovers will be key in this game, as they are, as it's kind of cliche in every game. But, Montana has looked, I won't say that they're a formidable team that's a national championship contender, but they've also looked as human, so to speak, during the early part of the season. I mean, North Dakota was able to come back on a big second half and overcome a 24-3 deficit. So if Western can hang around maybe until the fourth quarter, they can make things interesting in Missoula this weekend, and it'd be a chance for the SoCon to make a statement for itself when it comes down to conversations of how many teams we should include in the postseason from this league.
Now, we also know Furman's heading to William & Mary, a ranked FCS team. Furman was ranked, wasn't ranked again this week for some odd reason. What's your thoughts about this game? Furman going up to William & Mary with a two-headed monster. We've got two quarterbacks, not just one.
Yeah, I think Furman's like I was telling you before we got on here, I think Furman's going to play its best game of the season. What that result looks like, I'm not sure yet, but I will say that William & Mary is a very good football team. They've got a lot of experience. I think their quarterback's a 4-year starter, Darius Wilson, and running backs out Brunson Yoder is an All-American, and he would have been last year, except he got injured midway through the season. So it'll be interesting. I think Furman's defense is good enough to keep it in this game. It's sort of strength on strength, because where they have a lot of their maturity is on the offensive side of the ball, and where they've been pretty explosive this year, had over 400 yards offense against Wofford last week in a 28-21 road win for the Tribe. That's an area that Furman's strength is their defense, at least until Trey can get a little bit of comfortability in this offense. But I think Furman's defense will keep them in the game, and it'll be another game to where you'll see a fourth quarter type of game up in Williamsburg.
What other game are you looking at, or two games that are you looking at this week, other than the two main ones that we just spoke about?
I think Elon and East Tennessee State is going to be a big game. You know, Elon was a team that played Western Carolina last week, and they're from the CAA, the same conference as William & Mary is in. And that's a game that I think that East Tennessee State, it's going to be tough because they're going on the road now, and they're coming off a big-time performance of which they had against North Dakota State. What will their mentality be like? How will they approach that game, and will there be any letdown? Because Elon's a very good football team, and now they're kind of behind the 8 ball. I haven't lost a home game against Western Carolina, so that'll be a game that I'll be especially interested in. And, I think the other matchup is, I don't think it's matchups as much as it is two teams that I think that have off weeks this week. I think Chattanooga has a lot of questions they need to answer about their offense that didn't really play well against Mercer last week. And then I think you look at Wofford, who also goes into an off week, and what will their questions? I think they've answered a lot of questions going forward, as they've won 2 out of their first 3 games, and they played a very tough schedule, went on the road to beat a ranked Richmond team. And I think they've been very impressive so far. So I look forward to seeing, how in 2 weeks, Chattanooga, I think they play Portland State, and Wofford, I think they get into conference play in a couple weeks. So how will those two teams kind of going in different directions move forward in the 2024 season?
What's your thoughts on Mercer? This is a team that everybody picked kind of mid-pack, and now here they are sitting in first place in the SoCon.
Well, Mercer is a team. I believe if I'm not mistaken, they open up Southern Conference play this week against the Citadel. But they've looked like they're the Bears. They've looked like the '85 Bears defense so far. They only allowed 19 rushing yards last week. They haven't allowed a touchdown in 9 quarters, and that's impressive. I don't care against who you do it against, but. And the other thing is, I think they had 4 or 5 sacks last week, and 19 rushing yards, and you don't give up a touchdown, and you have 5 sacks. That's a pretty good defensive effort. And they've got a lot of new faces on the offensive side of the ball, but their quarterback is kind of a dual threat guy. He's been really impressive. DJ Smith so far, and then also Braden Smith, the wide receiver, who's scored the only touchdown I think on a wide receiver handoff last week. Mercer is going to be a force to be reckoned with going forward, and their defense, just like I said with Furman, will keep them in every game this year.
Well, there you go, Justin. That is the SoCon information and notes for this week for TGFF Game Day. Now back to you, and we also want to thank our sponsors, Ardensburg and Grill in Central South Carolina. Thank you for everything you do. Go by and see Donnie and Angie in Central. That is Ardensburg and Grill in Central.
Welcome back to the show, guys. John, thanks again. Jay, thanks again so much for y'all giving us the breakdown from the Southern Conference. Next up, we're going to be here with our guys from the Sunbelt. To them, their segment is also brought to you by Varro Fencing. Thanks for all of your fencing needs. Go to Varro Fencing. And we look forward to hearing what you guys have to say. Thanks so much for joining the show.
My name's Will, at SSN_Herd or Sidelines Marshall. That's what you might know it as. I'm covering Sunbelt scores and news this week. I'm super excited to be joining the TGFF team. Yeah, let's get into it. I want to start first with what happened Thursday night. South Alabama going down there to Boone, clocking them in the face, to be honest. This wasn't much of a game from the start. App State really looks to be struggling this year. I'm looking at stats. I watched this on the TV. Now looking at it on paper, it looks even worse. I'm gonna be honest. I think this is gonna be a down year for the Mountaineers. Boone is not happy at all, down there in Boone. I love Boone, North Carolina. I love the environment, but those fans aren't going to be happy with what's going on down there. And credit to South Alabama. I'm not saying App State's horrible, but I would have never expected them to get beat so badly by Clemson, and now 48-14 against South Alabama, who had a losing record. I know they dropped like 80-some points on whoever last week, but still, not something I would have expected. Getting into our weekend slate, we're going to start with our hometown team, of course, the Herd. We're going to Columbus to play Ohio State. Big noon kickoff on Fox. Great opportunity for some national spotlights for some of our standout players. I really in my heart am telling myself that, hey, Marshall has a shot. Realistically looking at this, though, from a fan point of view, not from a Marshall fan, but just from a fan point of view, this will most likely go Ohio State's way. The spread is 39.5 Ohio State. If Marshall wants a chance at this game, A.J. Turner, very talented running back, is going to have a show-out performance. Quarterback issues is what killed us last week, or 2 weeks ago, at Virginia Tech. I think we may see Braxton. I think you're going to see Stone starting the game. For Ohio State, I think they're just going to keep doing what they're doing. Judkins, Will Howard, they're on a roll, juggernaut. We could see maybe a trap game in Columbus. Super excited for that. Next, we're looking at JMU UNC. I think we see a James Madison win here. Yes, they've been struggling, but JMU over the past 2 years has been a historically dominant team. Even going to FCS, we all know about them, right? What I'm getting into is North Carolina has had a marquee win over Minnesota, I guess marquee. UNC did lose their starting quarterback, though. First game of the year. The backup is playing extremely well. But I don't think it's going to be enough to beat a good James Madison team. It is down there in Chapel Hill. But just looking at everything, very, very evenly matched. I think James Madison will win, but I think Harrell and the rest of the Tar Heels are going to put up a very, very good fight against them. After that, I think I should go into my game of the week. Louisiana Raging Cajuns play Tulane. Tulane is going to Louisiana, which is massive. That's already a rivalry game down there. I don't think they're separated very far because Tulane's in, New Orleans. I don't know exactly how far away they are, but rivalry game. It is a big Group of 5 game, and it is between the two big Group of 5 rival conferences. I think this is a chance to show that, hey, we are the biggest, the baddest Group of 5 conference out there. And I think Louisiana has a really good chance of going out there on national television and showing everybody that, hey, the Sunbelt has what it takes. I see Louisiana winning this game, but I think it's going to be hard fought. Tulane is battle tested. They've shown they're capable of playing big games. They have 2 losses this season, but their losses this year haven't been horrible. They've lost to Oklahoma and they've lost to Kansas State. Nothing bad, and they weren't blowouts. Good team, good opportunity for Louisiana. My game of the week. Very excited to see how that one goes. Arkansas State, Iowa State. I think this is a chance for Arkansas State to really get out there this year, find out who they are, their identity. Iowa State has had one big one this season. It's been Iowa. I don't think Iowa's that good of a team. Iowa State could be really good. Some are saying dark horse in the Big 12. I just don't think so. I think they're going to fall apart. I think Arkansas State has a chance to go down there to Cyclone Nation and, shock them all. I would love that. Arkansas State has been a team, has a great venue, has been a team on the rise, really. There's not much to say about that game. I just think it's a lot of these games are not much to say other than, the standout players for Arkansas State are going to have to play big. You're going to have to see Rayner and Wallace really, really play good. They're going to have to get Rucker really, really implemented passing-wise, get him involved in the passing game. Hoping that Arkansas State can do good. That would be great for us. UVA, Coastal Carolina. Virginia, not good. Coastal Carolina, that's easy. Ethan Vasco, monster of a man back there at quarterback, really fulfilling his role as a leader for Coastal Carolina, something they've been desperately needing this offseason. That was their one question. Could they fill in that role that Grayson McCall left? And I think he's more than doing that. Virginia has to go down there to Myrtle Beach and Conway. Chance get it done very, very easily. The next one, Southern Miss, Jacksonville State. The people in Hattiesburg aren't happy right now. They're used to a successful program. I respect them a lot. And Southern Miss lately has not been kind of good for them. Either one of two things happened this year. I think Southern Miss bounces back, beats a struggling Jacksonville State team, kind of finds their foothold and, wobbles their way into being bowl eligible, or who knows, they put themselves into a conference title talk. If they lose this game, I see Southern Miss maybe winning 3 games this year. And that's awful because I really respect the people down there in Hattiesburg. And, I hate to see that happen, but the coaching down there, to me, just hasn't been cutting it. I really want to see Southern Miss come up on the rise. Good program, great venue. Love it down there. Florida A&M, Troy. Troy's got that in the bag. Florida A&M. This is going to be a bounce-back game for Troy. It's going to be down in Troy, Alabama. It'll be a pretty good environment. Even though they're 0-3, Troy's been battle-tested this year. Had to go play at Iowa. Don't care who you are. Even though I said I wasn't that good of a team, playing in Kinnick Stadium, tough task for anybody. So Troy easily takes down Florida A&M. Trap game for me, the true trap game for this week, Georgia Southern at Ole Miss. Georgia Southern played one hell of a game against Boise State. Boise State, has one of the most electric running backs in the nation right now, and they ran all over Georgia Southern. That was the main issue. Other than that, Georgia Southern played pretty solid, had a good comeback in that game. So I think you're going to see a good game plan going in against Ole Miss. I think you're going to see them play very hard. And I think you have a 21-17 game going into, fourth quarter maybe. Maybe not. Ole Miss has Jackson Dart. Great players. I really hope Georgia Southern can do something this week. Their defense has been pretty stout. This has been one of Georgia Southern's brighter years from the outside looking in. Just looking at them talent wise, they're a lot more loaded this year. Coaching staff is pretty good. The fans are really behind them. I love it down there in Statesboro. I think they really test Ole Miss, and who knows, they might be leaving the red stadium, with a W. Last game of the week, UL Monroe at Texas. General Booty. It would make my day if you would go down there and just beat Texas. As an ex-Oklahoma quarterback, it would be great. But I think Arch Manning and the Longhorns may have a field day. If not, though, I would be pleasantly surprised to beat the number 1 team in the nation, bolster the Sunbelt like crazy. Yeah, but that's our games this week. Something to look at for everybody. Just watch how the Tulane Louisiana game plays out. I think that's going to give us a good idea of how our conference is going to look in the next few years, especially with conference realignment hitting up. I think that's going to be a big one. That is an American Athletic Conference versus a Sunbelt game. Massive. And one more thing, App State has been the big market team. With them having a down year, and especially with them getting blown out this week, kind of proving that they are not the all-powerful, top dog they usually are with fan base and team and talent and all that. I'm interested to see who's going to step up for this year and kind of carry, the Sunbelt marketing-wise and national media-wise, because usually it's been App State this year, and I don't think James Madison has the stronghold they usually do. I think you could see a conference this year that's really balanced in how their national media is shown for teams, and it's pretty exciting. Makes it a lot more interesting. Yeah, super excited to be working with you all the rest of the year. Go Herd.
Live from atop the Roost. This is the Teal Roost podcast. Hey guys, welcome in everybody. Welcome in our entire audience, listening audience and watching audience both, because this can be listened to on Spotify as well. So we look forward to bringing you this week number 4's predictions in the SBC, as well as a look into Saturday's matchup between Coastal Carolina and the Virginia Cavaliers. I've talked about it before in the last 2 games, the first 2 games of the season, excuse me, and talked about success for Coastal, I believe, is ball security. And I think this week against Virginia, from what I've looked at Virginia and seen what they're capable of doing, I think if we win both offensive and defensive lines of scrimmage, we are going to have an amazing game. And maybe even perhaps a high-scoring game. I'm not sure. I'll give you my prediction on the score here in just a few minutes. But if we are able to maintain ball security, not turn the ball over like we've done in the last 2 games. The first game of the season, we had 2 turnovers in that first game against Jacksonville State, and that was an interception and a fumble. And since then, we have not had a turnover the rest of the season so far going into week 4. In addition, we've got a great running back that we've discovered. This guy came to us from USC. That's the University of Southern California, and picked him up this last year in the portal. And Christian Washington has been a great running back for us this season, especially since Brandon Bennett is hurt. With Bennett being hurt, he has stepped up in the role of a starter, and he's done an exceptional job at taking care of the ball, and as well as he scored 2 touchdowns in the last 2 ball games. Last week against Temple, he had 2 touchdown runs, and the week before that against William and Mary, he also had 2 touchdown runs as well. So Christian, we're looking for big things out of this week. Against Temple, we have recorded our 3rd defensive TD in 3 weeks. Each game we have scored a defensive touchdown, and we're hoping that the defense can keep up that wonderful record intact and turn the ball over a couple more times, Virginia, get them to turn the ball over a couple more times so that we can continue that record and that success. DeMonte Diggs had a game in Temple. The man came out like a beast. He had a pick six for a score. Diggs also had 6 tackles in that game, as well as 1 tackle for a loss and 1 tackle for a sack. So his stats are starting to add up. We look for more things out of DeMonte Diggs this coming Saturday as well. Quarterback Ethan Vasco, he rushed for a 92 yards, and that was his second highest production last year. I believe he rushed for 170 yards against Old Dominion, if I can remember correctly. And that was kind of a breakout game for him. He did really, really well. Also, Coastal's defense has scored in 3 consecutive games, as I mentioned, and that's the first time in program history that that's happened. So we want to welcome the Virginia Cavaliers into town, into Conway this weekend. We're looking for a big game. We have a sellout crowd. There's nothing but student tickets left, from what I understand, and so you know it's been a situation where Coastal has gone 3-0 this season. Virginia comes in here at 2-1. It's the ACC versus the SBC. It's a program 4 against a program 5. We're looking for big things. Now, we've had wins over program 4s before. We beat Boise State a couple of years ago. Back during COVID, they came here for a game that we really appreciate. They basically took it on a second's notice and came in here, and we beat them and upset them, and that was a great win for us. So we're looking for big things this coming weekend, as I said before, and we're going to be here to cheer on the shots and bring you an update on Sunday or Monday morning from a game recap. So we look forward to all that taking place. We also have our 4-game pick this weekend. Usually I only do 2, but this weekend I featured 4 picks, and I'm looking forward to keeping up track with these games too. And then the first pick that I have is going to be a Saturday game, and that's going to be Marshall, the Thundering Herd from the SBC, against Ohio State from the Big Ten. I think it's the Big 15 or 18 or something now. I'm not sure, but it's still called the Big Ten, but they got a lot more teams than 10 teams. So Marshall comes in here at 1-1 against Ohio State, which is 2-0. I really, don't see much of a ball game out of Marshall. Marshall has upset some teams in the past. They beat Virginia Tech last year at Tech, and they've had some decent wins, but they've really been on the struggle bus for the last 2 years, and it's been difficult for them. I just do not see them beating Ohio State in Columbus on Saturday. And I'm going to take a prediction on that game of 56-13. I believe that Marshall will be able to get a little bit of offense out of it, but I believe that Ohio State, preseason ranked number 1. I think that they're going to come in here. They're going to be at home, and they're going to come out on that field and put a shellacking on Marshall, I believe, this weekend. My second game choice was JMU against the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, the Tar Heels. And the JMU comes in here at 2-0, as well as North Carolina being 3-0. It's going to be a close game. I do believe, I haven't seen North Carolina play yet, but I know that JMU has, again, struggled to put offensive points on the board, and that's not usual for them. Last year, they had no problem with doing that, and this year, they just seem to be having trouble and struggling with getting points put on the game. So I am taking that to be a very close game at Chapel Hill, and I'm picking UNC to beat James Madison 31-28. The next one that I have up for you is Louisiana, the Ragin' Cajuns versus Tulane. Again, I think this is going to be a really close game. the Sunbelt has been playing tough, but against other opponents. But again, Tulane is generally one of those teams that can put a lot of offense up, a lot of points on the board. But I believe that Louisiana, they had a win over Grambling and a win over Kennesaw State. Tulane's going to be a little bit more of a challenge for them, and I'm picking Tulane in that game 21-13. Again, I'm picking Tulane to beat Louisiana 21-13. Again, we have a sold-out crowd for the Coastal and Virginia game this weekend. There's only been, that's only happened in the last 3 home games. We've only lost 3 home games since 2020. So Virginia's going to come in here with a tough way to go. And again, I'm picking Coastal Carolina. Again, this is Coastal Carolina 3-0 against Virginia 2-1. And I think Coastal will control that line of scrimmage and the defensive line of scrimmage. And our secondary on defense will be just as good and just as tough as they have been. And I'm picking Coastal a 38-35 winner over the University of Virginia this coming Saturday at Brooks Stadium in Conway, South Carolina. And I say this week, and I say it every week, go SBC, go Coastal Carolina, and shots up.
Great information from the Sunbelt. And we just also want to thank, of course, Vero Fencing for sponsoring our Sunbelt Conference information. And now let's go to our guys at Coach's Box. That's right, the Coach's Box, part of Greenville Sports Media. And they got our Doobie Energy SEC breakdown. Let's go to them right now.
Hello, everybody. This is Chris Miller from the Coach's Box, Call Like We See It podcast. And we are covering the SEC for game day, and we're going to be here talking about week 4 football. There's several games that probably should result in blowouts this week for SEC schools. Kentucky's favored by 20 over Ohio. Texas is favored by 44.5 over Louisiana Monroe. Ole Miss favored by 35.5 points over Georgia Southern. A&M is favored by 23 over Bowling Green. And LSU is even favored by 24 over UCLA. So there's a lot of blowouts that are picked right there. And as long as these players basically get to the stadium, they put their shoes on the right way, they actually make it to the field and are right there ready to play, I'm pretty sure those are going to be easy picks for SEC schools in all of those games. Arkansas at Auburn is probably the closest game as far as the spread is concerned. Auburn's only favored by 3. I'd spend some time on this game for a number of reasons, considering both coaches could possibly be on the hot seat. But I'm a Mizzou fan, so I don't really feel like talking about the Piggies. So I'm picking them to lose. Go Auburn there. Go Tigers. There are, however, a couple of important games for the SEC, specifically for a couple of coaches. Florida at Mississippi State could have huge implications on Gator coach Billy Napier's job. Obviously, he's been on the hot seat. You can't lose as many games as he has over the last couple of years. I mean, when Ron Zook was fired back in 2004, Florida AD Jeremy Foley quoted Henry Kissinger by saying, "If something needs to be done eventually, it must be done immediately." And given how the tenure is going, as I said, a change probably should be made immediately. It's just kind of like wait and see. Are they going to do it? Are they not going to do it? And 4 consecutive losing seasons is unacceptable in Gainesville. Just ask Dan Mullen. He was fired after just 1. So Florida is favored by 5.5 points, even though they're on the road. And they come in 1-2. Beating FCS Sanford really doesn't mean a whole lot to them, to anybody, probably including the fans. But just bloviated some of the stats. And after this weekend, the Gator schedule is loaded the rest of the way until they play Florida State. So, I mean, that probably should be an easy win for them, right? Mississippi State needs to win themselves before they face number 1 Texas and number 2 Georgia for the next 2 games. And 3 out of their 4 next games, I believe, are ranked. And a reeling Florida team is ripe for another defeat. And even though the Bulldogs are 43rd in passing offense, their rushing offense is 113th. So balance is going to be key for Mississippi State if they want to win. And given the fact that Florida is just kind of like in this spiraling, we're going down plane kind of thing, I'm going to go ahead and just pick Mississippi State and the upset at home, and just going to turn the hot seat up a little bit on Napier. The aforementioned Mizzou Tigers, they gutted out a win last week over Boston College. It really wasn't pretty. The offense sputtered, and it was their first real test of the season. You come out and you play hapless Murray State, who I don't even know why they have football. I'm a SEMO alumni, so Murray State losing is always great for me. And they beat Buffalo. They didn't allow any points. They're both blowouts. The offenses and a lot of the starters did not get a chance to play 4 quarters. So this is the first big test. Boston College is playing a lot better and this year, and obviously, it was a really good game. While they picked up the win, it did cost them a spot in the rankings. So they go from 6th to 7th, and not that really matters a whole heck of a lot at this point in the season, but they have to play a lot better, and they get a seemingly easy opponent in Vanderbilt. It's always been an easy opponent for the most part for most SEC schools. But hey, I'm a Mizzou fan, so we know how this goes, and they are favored by 20 and a half points. So this is kind of a trap game. And I know we didn't really want to pick any blowouts, but again, I like talking Mizzou. Brady Cook has looked incredibly average. He's only thrown 2 touchdowns on the season. Again, part of that is because he hasn't played the full games in those first 2. And the ball has to find Luther Burden early, often, and consistently. And they've got to find a way to get him going even at a higher level if they want to be considered one of the best teams in the nation. I know they're ranked 7th. I know they're ranked 6th. And there's a lot of high expectations, so they've got to do a lot better job. The rushing attack, which was something that everybody questioned coming into the season, like how are you going to run the ball? They've done it extremely well, and it's helped them get balance in the offense, which has been great to help get Tigers win. Vanderbilt comes into this game 2-1. They really should be 3-0. They had an embarrassing loss for any SEC school to lose to Georgia State last week when they lost 36-32. So the Commodores need to stay a little bit disciplined and eliminate penalties, because they're averaging 80 yards of offensive penalties per game. So you can't keep shooting yourself in the foot and killing your own drives. And they had to give Diego Pavia, excuse me, say it wrong, time to throw the ball. I feel like he's, a capable quarterback in all, all aspects of the game, except that they just continue to get flags. I think the game is going to be won in the trenches, because I think Mizzou's defense could show up and have a big day. And, this is, again, it's a trap game, but I look for Mizzou to win. I don't look for them to cover the spread. And the final matchup is probably the best and most relevant game in the SEC, as Tennessee visits SEC newcomer Oklahoma. Tennessee is favored by 6.5, even though they're on the road. Both teams are 3-0, and both get a chance to move to 4-0 on primetime on ABC. Tennessee leads the SEC in total defense, but their offense is what anybody's talking about. After dropping 71 last week on Kent State and basically averaging 63 points per game, they lead the nation in points per game. This is the Josh Heupel Bowl, because Josh Heupel's getting a chance to take his team back home, where he basically put up video game numbers 25 years ago. His redshirt freshman, I'll probably butcher his name, I've tried to say it so many times, quarterback Nico Iamaleava, has been better than expected since becoming the starter. But guess what? You're going to Norman, buddy, and Norman is going to be hostile, okay? And especially on Saturday night prime time, it's going to be intense. Oklahoma needs to make a statement in their first SEC game. This is their first conference game in the new conference, especially with Tennessee coming in. They've got a redshirt freshman quarterback who's showing up to play at their place. So I expect Brent Venables' defense to be ramped up. They've obviously they try to play aggressive. They have an 11% sack rate this season, and they've got to make life pretty much hell on Iamaleava. Again, I'm going to butcher that all day long. I'm a teacher, and I can't say things. So for Tennessee to win the Heupel Bowl, they've got to find a way to exploit the holes in that blitz and get the ball out quickly, and make sure that they keep their freshman quarterback upright. Quarterback Jackson Arnold for Oklahoma, he needs to have a great game himself. This guy is a guy who can obviously do a lot. I think he's an underrated dual threat quarterback, because when he gets outside the pocket, he could just make a big play himself if he doesn't see anything open, and he can go north and south pretty quick. One advantage for Oklahoma is that Tennessee has not played 4 quarters of a football game yet this year. They've done a lot of the same thing because their starters have had to sit. And this would be one of the first times that they'll have to play 4 quarters. I don't see them coming in and having an easy game against Oklahoma. Now, Oklahoma has had a couple of sloppy ones themselves. They definitely played sloppy against Houston, and they had a slow start against Tulane. But here's the thing. Everybody's going to be hyped up for this game. All the fans are, the coaches are, the players are. It's going to be intense in Norman this week when Oklahoma, gets a chance to knock off Tennessee. I just think that it's going to be a lot of fun there, and everybody's going to be ready for, the prodigal son to come home. But I don't think it's going to matter, because I think Josh Heupel has his team focused. They're ready, and that's why I'm picking the Volunteers to win. It could be a big win, though, if the Sooners don't show up to play. So I mean, there's not a lot of big games, but there's a couple of them that are kind of important. But thank you guys for tuning in for this week's SEC talk here on Game Day. I'm Chris Miller from the Coach's Box Call Like We See It podcast. Hope you guys get a chance to tune in to a lot more college football. We will see you guys next week, and appreciate you guys tuning in. Don't forget to check out our podcast and hopefully get some laughs, and we'll talk some sports there. But thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you guys all again next week.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Thanks so much for the SEC Talk of the Week. Thanks so much to our friends over at Coach's Box and Doobie Energy. We appreciate all of your needs for energy. Go to Doobie, buy yourself a drink. You won't forget it. So the next segment we got, Jay, man, as always, we got to do our Underdog Picks of the Week, and that's going to be with our guys over at Sitting Pretty Dog Grooming. So thank you so much for their participation in it. But that's going to be our Underdog Pick of the Week. So we appreciate it, again, for Sitting Pretty, and we look forward to the information.
This week's Sitting Pretty Underdog is going to be USF against Miami. Give me the USF Bulls and an upset over Miami. Underdog is here.
That was some great information from the Underdog. Of course, Underdog's brought to you by Sitting Pretty Dog Grooming. Make sure to get in touch with Felicia and Emma. All right, now we go to our segment of Big 12, and that is Joe Tillery. He's going to bring us our Pepsi Big 12 segment for this week.
Week 4 of the Big 12 season is here. The first week of Big 12 conference play between conference rivals. Obviously, you have a couple teams that aren't playing a conference schedule. Notably, Iowa State's taking on Arkansas State this week. It's not a conference game, obviously, because they did have a bye week last week. But that being said, for the rest of the teams in the league, it is week 1 of Big 12 play. Iowa State will kick things off next week with a Big 12 opponent. But there's a lot of good games on the slate. The first one I want to highlight, the biggest game in my mind, obviously everybody's mind, they should probably agree in this case, Utah versus Oklahoma State, the 12th ranked team in the country versus the 14th ranked team in the country. These are two really good programs. Now, the question surrounding this game is one that I'll talk about a little bit more in depth as this video progresses, but the big thing that stands out here, the line started with Utah favored by 2.5 points. Now, I jumped on this already. I'll talk about this later with my picks, but the line just switched this past day, and now it's in favor, entire 5-point flip, in favor of Oklahoma State minus 2.5. Does that mean anything regarding Cam Rising's health? My mind tells me yes. Kyle Whittingham said he's probably going to play this week. I feel confident saying he will play. I don't know if he'll be there all 4 quarters. So my pick as of right now, I think that's the big game to watch. It's going to be massive. Should Cam Rising be healthy, Utah can absolutely win that game. But with Isaac Wilson in the game, I don't see them getting that job done. So that's something to focus on in week 4. Next on the game, the loser goes home slate. I know it's week 1. That's crazy. No one's going to be that far out of the picture, and no one realistically is going home. But the team where stuff hits the fan most this week, it's between the 1 and 2 matchup between Kansas and West Virginia. Two teams that were just on the cusp of being, preseason top 25 teams. Kansas actually being in that category at 21st ranked. West Virginia just missing in the last, 5 or 6 teams to miss the cut. Both teams are 1 and 2 and staring down the barrel of a 3rd loss already. Obviously, it's just 1 loss in conference play to the loser, but both teams have a ton of question marks right now. Jalen Daniels, we don't know what kind of football he's playing. Jeff Grimes is calling plays for maybe the worst team of all time as of right now, ignoring a guy like Devin Neal despite the fact he's averaging 7-8 yards a carry and electing to throw 50-50 balls with a quarterback that we haven't seen has his best stuff this season. West Virginia, however, they just haven't been good. Garrett Green hasn't been consistent enough. Jaheim White's been banged up. They've had the injury bug here and there, but they started off with a tough loss against Penn State. Everybody thought that game would be a lot closer. It wasn't, and they've kind of tailspin the last couple weeks. So West Virginia's sitting there at 1-2 as well after a loss to Pittsburgh in the backyard brawl. Loser of this game is definitely going to be the one that sits there and looks in the mirror and says, you know what, we got to figure some things out. This is a time to hit the panic button. I know it's week 1 for the Big 12 slate. It's still a panic button pressing time. There's some more good games on the slate. I think one of the sneakier games is Arizona State, Texas Tech. You've seen Kenny Dillingham and the boys get to 3-0, a team that not many expected to get to that mark. They're back. Joey McGuire's team, not great on defense. We'll talk about them a little bit more here in a second, but that's the biggest one there. Obviously, you've got TCU taking on SMU. It's a rivalry week, but not a Big 12 game. Battle for the Iron Skillet. You've got both teams fighting it out for that. But moving down the list, you got Kansas State, the 13th ranked Wildcats, kicking off at 9:30 p.m. Central Time, if you're like me, against BYU in Provo. That's going to be a massive game, a whiteout. 9:30 p.m. kickoff. Provo's going to be buzzing when the Wildcats come to town. 2 3-0 teams there. Who will advance to 4-0? Who will drop to 3-1? That'll be answered pretty shortly. That's the question everybody's asking this week. But guys, we're going to talk about 3 games and 3 picks that I like to watch for. Like I said earlier, I already jumped on Oklahoma State, so I have the money line. I got the money line for plus money back earlier in the week because I wasn't quite sure what the health of Cam Rising was. But that being said, even though it's changed a little bit now, I would still take Oklahoma State minus 2.5. They're in Stillwater. I don't think Utah is that great without Cam Rising. Even if he's out there, I still have some questions about their team. I will take Oklahoma State and Mike Gundy to get it done in advance to 4-0. Another team I like. This is just reading the writing on the wall. Arizona State right now is a better team than Texas Tech. They're currently 2.5-point underdogs to Texas Tech. I know Texas Tech put up 66 points last week against North Texas. I will take the Sun Devils over the Red Raiders. I think they're a better football team. They've got the better quarterback. They've got a better defense as of right now. Will they be for real this season? I don't know, but as of right now, I will take them over Joey McGuire and company. And the last game I'll talk about, give me Kansas State minus 6.5 against BYU. I know this is a tough environment for the young kid Avery Johnson for Kansas State's young offense, but they're the better team. They're better in the trenches. They're better up front. Defense is better. Special teams, they're just better across the board. I will take the best players in this game who happen to be on the side of Kansas State. I will take them to win the game. I think BYU keeps it close-ish, but I think the Kansas State covers the 6.5-point spread. And those are my picks for this week as we continue to roll through the season.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. We appreciate you guys over at Pepsi and Joe Tillery for their information here on the Big 12. Everyone, thanks again for our friends over at Weekend Warrior Golf. We really do appreciate them being a prime sponsor for us. And Jay, it's that time of the week, man. We got to talk about the ACC. So let's recap the week that was and the week that's going to be. So we got 3 big games coming up on the slate this week for the ACC. Didn't do so hot too much last week, Jay. You know, Boston College took the loss, but I was really excited to see how they performed down in Missouri, though. I thought they played extremely well. You know, Clemson was off last week. Florida State took another bad loss, so you know how that goes. They're now 0-3. But Miami and Louisville did what they needed to do, so they're taking care of business in the conference. NC State also finally took care of business against Louisiana Tech after being down in the first half. So they actually got the job done, had a really great second half, and also put up the 10-point win. They also now have a new quarterback, Jay, so we're going to talk about that a little bit later on in the show as we do the Clemson-NC State breakdown as well. So that's going to be one of our games this week, Jay. But the other game that I'm going to be looking at this week is going to be Miami and South Florida. So a lot of talk this week surrounding the Florida schools, Jay. You know, a lot of turmoil going on in Florida. But, you know, the best 2 teams might be UCF and USF. So this week, Miami gets South Florida. So I think it's going to be another great matchup for them. Byron Brown is the quarterback down in South Florida, and I think he's going to give Miami and those guys all they can handle this week. I do have Miami still winning that game, but I do think it's going to be closer than the experts pick. So looking forward to that. Also looking forward to the rest of the slate as well. So we also have our friends over at North Carolina playing James Madison this week. We also have, you know, our game down at Clemson and NC State. The game of the week that we might be looking at talking about is going to be the Friday night game with Stanford and Syracuse, though, Jay. So, you know, the Orange are really playing really good football right now. Stanford's got another win on the board, so they're 1-1. So might be another good matchup for the Orange to get another good win. So looking forward to a huge slate of games this week on tap. Got a really good schedule. So Virginia is also taking on Coastal. Georgia Tech might be a really good game down in Louisville this week. Sorry, and the also Duke and Middle Tennessee State is going to be another one that we need to look at. So looking forward to see if the Duke Blue Devils can take it to 3-0 this week. So a lot of good stuff going on in the conference, Jay. Looking forward to it, and we're going to be breaking down these more games in detail a little bit later on. So thank you so much for letting me do that, Jay. We really appreciate everybody too over at Amedios for helping us out for all of your lasagna needs, pizza needs, calzone needs, wine, great things, everything. You can find it over on Western Boulevard at Amedios Italian Restaurant. We thank them so much for their participation and their support for us. So we look forward to our next segment, though. That segment for us this week is going to be brought to us by Catch This Sports. And we look forward to all the great information that we got from the Big Ten.
All right, y'all, welcome to Run the Damn Ball. This is your host, Daniel Magnuson. We're going to be talking about college football coming up on week 4 now of college football games. And it's recording this on Friday. We got some games tonight. I'm going to talk about Big Ten football. As I am a Nebraska fan, I do have to pay attention to the Big Ten. It's a better conference now than ever because we got 18 teams. But hey, we're going to talk about the games, talk about some other big games around the country as well. Let's jump right into it. We'll do the first game up. That really, really matters, and that's Illinois at Nebraska tonight. Really excited about this game. This is the biggest Illinois-Nebraska game ever. Been to a couple Illinois-Nebraska games over the years as well. I've been to Champaign once. I saw Illinois play against Nebraska in the Big Ten West days a couple times when I lived in Nebraska. Both teams are ranked. Nebraska's 22, Illinois is 24. I'm just going to go ahead and give you my prediction for the game. I say Nebraska wins 31-17. I say Nebraska wins. I do think being at home gives them about an extra touchdown advantage, and I do think they pull away late. I think it's going to be a close game. Illinois has got some good players. Pat Bryant had a touchdown against us last year. He's a wide receiver, senior for them. I do think I think he's a senior, might be a junior, but he's older. Number 13, I think he's going to probably, give him a good boost today. They have Caden Fegan as running back. He's 6'3", 250. They have a couple other guys they mix in there with the run game. Luke Altmaier looks a lot better this year than last year. I'm going to go ahead and say that right now. I mean, he got replaced as a starter to end the year last year by Paddock. Now he looks better than ever right now. He can run. He's really quick getting the ball out. Just looks way bit more in rhythm. So that'll be fun to watch and see how he and Raiola stack up. I mean, their stats are about identical right now if you do look online at those. But yeah, I mean, Illinois has got a solid team. Zachary Franklin's also a good wide receiver, and their defense, they're not super talented, but they're big and they hit hard, and they forced 9 turnovers this year so far. So they got a real team. This is the best Illinois team since 2 years ago when they had that was their best team in a while. The Brown twins, one on offense, one on defense. Those are really good players. This team might rival that actually this year. I don't think they quite have the running back that they did with Brown back 2 years ago in 2022. But I do think Nebraska's also much improved from last year as well. They also beat Illinois last year. Not that was a big deal. That was just a really sloppy game for both teams. But hey, Nebraska now, I think the weapons on offense is going to be enough. I think their run game is going to be enough. And I think their defense at home is why they win by, in my opinion, about 10 to 14 points tonight. So that's my take on that. I have to go all in as a Nebraska fan. Also been paying attention to Illinois because they are a former Big Ten West team. We'll talk about some other games. Marshall goes at Ohio State. I do have shame upon Ohio State for scheduling no Power 4 non-conference games this year. I don't know how they did that, but I think they dropped a team like Georgia or something. They had a team they were supposed to play this year. They decided not to. So it might have been, I'm trying to remember who it was. Whatever. They're playing Marshall. They're going to probably blow them out. So just saying that's going to happen. Indiana plays Charlotte. That's probably another win. Maryland plays Villanova. That's another win for Maryland, in my opinion. Penn State versus Kent State. I know Penn State struggled with, Bowling Green a couple weeks ago. Kent State is awful. Okay, they're 0-3. They got blown out by Tennessee by like 70-something points. Penn State's going to win that. USC Michigan is happening this weekend. Michigan announced they're starting Alex Orji at QB, something they probably should have done to start the year. Way more athletic than Davis Warren at quarterback, and maybe he's not quite as like a good thrower in terms of decision making and things, but I bet he has a cannon if you look at him physically. And you know, if he can't make that first or second read, he can take off and run. And so I think that's a win for Michigan right now with them already being a running team. So I do think Michigan has their best game of the year. And I think it's going to be super close. I think Michigan is going to have a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. I don't think they're going to have the offensive experience. They don't have the receivers right now. I think Colston Loveland might not even be playing. It's their best, option to throw to at tight end. Not super impressed with their offense this year. I do think USC holds on. Improved defense. Their offense is going to be able to generate some points. 17-14 USC. It's going to be closer than people think. Next up, we got UCLA at LSU. I'm just not a fan of LSU right now. That's the one SEC team I usually root for. Brian Kelly is extremely unlikable, and for many reasons. And I do think UCLA is going to go in there and for absolutely no reason give them a really tough game when LSU is way more talented and should probably blow them out. I do think LSU wins by one score in a sloppy game. That's how I see it. LSU could win by 30, but I do think it's going to, for whatever reason, UCLA is going to cause some trouble for LSU if they do figure out how to tackle. They have some athletes, but they were whiffing on tackles last week against Indiana. So give me a close game, but LSU is going to win because they're just too talented. Rutgers at Virginia Tech as well as tomorrow. I think Virginia Tech wins a close game. It could go either way, but I just see this. I don't really believe in Rutgers' passing game, and I think Virginia Tech's going to have enough talent to find a way to win. Northwestern at Washington, as well as in the evening. Give me Washington in this game. Close win. I don't think Northwestern has the right QB there right now, and I don't. Northwestern gets better at the back half of the season. They always struggle at the beginning. They lose games they maybe shouldn't. They lost to Duke at home to start out the season. They'll be better later in the year when they, get into rhythm. For whatever reason, they always struggle early in a lot of seasons. And so, yeah, give me Washington in a close one. Iowa versus Minnesota. Look, I think Iowa is running out of time for what they're trying to do. I know that they've been doing the same thing for like 25 years, but I do think they're running out of – I think that Ferentz is running out of time. And I do think Minnesota's run game is actually legit. Darius Taylor and Marcus Major are both really good running backs. Caleb Johnson's really good for Iowa as well. But I do think Minnesota at home, with what they have on offense, they have a little bit more than Iowa, and I think their defenses actually are pretty even, in my opinion. Iowa has shown, they're really good against the run, but they can get burned deep. And Daniel Jackson's a really good wide receiver. This can go either way. It's going to be down to the wire. I'm taking Minnesota in this one. Maybe Iowa gets revenge because they probably should have won that game last year. But, give me Minnesota and like a 21-17 win. I think they're going to be able to stretch the field here and there and find a way to win. Michigan State at Boston College. I do think Boston College is a fun team, a fun offense, but I do think Michigan State – actually, with having a better passing offense, I think Michigan State is going to find a way to win this. Kind of an upset, really, if you look at it. Boston College gave Missouri some trouble last week. So Michigan State in a close win over Boston College. That's what I think is going to happen. And then Purdue at Oregon State. Oregon State did get blown out by Oregon, but Purdue got wrecked by Notre Dame at like 66-7. With that being said, I just think Purdue is a joke if they're going to get beat 66-7 by anybody. So give me Oregon State at home by 3. Close game. Both teams aren't very good. Give me Oregon State because they're at home. And we'll move on to some of the other games around the country. Stanford plays at Syracuse tonight. I think Syracuse wins because they're the home team. McCord's a really good quarterback as well. NC State at Clemson. Give me Clemson because I think they're going to figure it out a little bit this season. They're not a college football playoff team, even if they find a way to win the wide open ACC. But I guess they would be at that point. But NC State, I think, was overrated to start the season. Clemson was also overrated, but Clemson's at home, and I think they have a better offense. Florida at Mississippi State. This is just the crap ball of the SEC. Give me Hold on. This is a toss-up. Give me Mississippi State just because they're at home, and I think they're going to have a – Florida is really bad, and so is Florida State. They're both really bad. Give me Mississippi State just because I think they turned around after getting blown out by Toledo for some reason. I think they have better athletes at wideout too, and Florida just doesn't have a quarterback at all. I think Blake Shapen's a little bit better than whatever Florida has right now at least. James Madison, North Carolina. Give me North Carolina. Could be a fun game. Houston at Cincinnati. Give me Houston. I like their offense better. Kansas at West Virginia. Both these teams could have been 3-0 at this point. Actually, Penn State was probably going to be West Virginia regardless of anything, but I did pick West Virginia to win that back in week 1. But anyway, Kansas at West Virginia. Give me Kansas. I think their offense is a little bit more experienced. Tulane at Louisiana. Give me Tulane. Ohio at Kentucky. Give me Kentucky. Virginia at Coastal Carolina. Coastal Carolina is having a good year, man. I think they're undefeated. Give me Coastal Carolina. Georgia Tech at Louisville. I'll take Louisville, home team. Arkansas at Auburn. Give me Arkansas. They should have beat Oklahoma State. They kind of blew that game, and I think they're going to be better than Auburn this year. So I'll take Arkansas in overtime. Arizona State at Texas Tech. Close game. I think Texas Tech's figuring it out right now, though, and they're at home. Give me Texas Tech. UCLA, I already called that game. Utah at Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State, I think, wins. I don't think Cam Rising is going to be 100%. I think Oklahoma State, with their offense and their defense, is pretty experienced as well. I think they're a little bit better than Utah, especially at home. TCU at SMU. I work for SMU football, so I'm not going to call this game. But I have a team I'm rooting for, obviously, because I work for SMU. But I'm not going to pick that game. I'm just saying I'm excited about it. Looking forward to that game tomorrow. Is that everybody? California at Florida State. Give me California because Florida State's a dumpster fire right now. And California is undefeated. They beat Auburn. Miami at South Florida. Give me Miami. Tennessee at Oklahoma. Blowout win for Tennessee. Absolute blowout win. 42-21. Not close. Just they'll win by 21 or 28. Baylor at Colorado. Give me Baylor. Their experience is going to find a way to win out in overtime. 34-31. That's what I'm calling right here. And then Kansas State at BYU. Last game. Give me Kansas State. 28-19. That's a road game for them, but they're a better team than BYU. So those are my picks. Looking forward to this weekend. Go Big Red. Run the damn ball. We out.
Wow, that was some great information about the Big Ten. We want to thank all of our Aries Curry and Catch This Sports. If you need your high schoolers taught on any kind of sport, he is the one to bring you in, get them trained up, and get them ready for their sports. Also, we want to thank our guys doing the Big Ten. Appreciate you giving us that. Now we're going to go to our guest picker of the week, and we're told that this is a surprise. We don't know who this person is. He's going to be our guest picker, brought to you by the guys and ladies over at the Point RV at Hartwell Lake. We want to thank them for everything they do for our show, bringing us our guest picker each and every week. And this week is a surprise. So, Justin, I don't know what to think. Oh, God, please don't let it be Bobby. I mean, he's already got one segment. He doesn't need two.
No, it better not be that guy. If I see that guy again, I might just have to toss him off the end of the deck. So, we got to get rid of that guy off the show, man. All
right, let's go to our guest picker.
All right, everybody, we got a special treat for us this week for our guest game picker, brought to you by the Point RV at Hartwell Lake. We bring in former Clemson wide receiver Aries Curry. How's it going, Aries?
All is well, Jay. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate you coming on for us for a video link. Of course, we're having to do a little different way today, so we wanted everybody to get to see Aries. He's doing great. Aries, tell us a little bit about Catch This Sports real quick.
Catch This Sports is in the process of crowdfunding. I'm on a journey to obtain my own personal training facility, so I'm in the process of doing some crowdfunding for that in order to reach that goal. It's going to last I'm probably running it until about September this time next year. So give myself about a year. So within the next 12 to 18 months, hopefully that facility will be up and running. If you would like to support or donate, feel free to go to catchthissports.com. And the QR code with the link is on my website on that first page. Feel free to tap it and share. Thank you.
All right. Well, Aries, we appreciate you coming on, being our guest picker this week. So let's get to it. First game, Illinois versus Nebraska.
I got Nebraska over Illinois. Definitely, I see that happening. Plus, I'm gonna pull for Nebraska because I'm not sure if any of my Tiger fans realize or know, but one of my former teammates, his son plays for the Cornhuskers, so I'm rooting for Leroy Hill's son plays for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
All right, that's neat to know. I didn't know that one. Coastal Carolina versus Virginia.
I'm gonna ride with the Cavaliers. I'm pulling for my buddy Tony Elliott, so I'm going with the Cavaliers on that one.
All right, next game, Michigan versus USC.
I'm riding with Michigan, even though they're a little banged up. I think they get it together this week and find a way to win the football game versus a tough opponent in USC.
All right, next game up is Georgia Tech versus Louisville.
Louisville, I got to go with. I'm familiar with a young man that plays in that secondary that I've had an opportunity to work with, and I've been worked with him since he's 12 years old. Quincy Riley, one of the top corners in the nation, so I'm going with Louisville on this one.
All right, UCLA goes to LSU.
LSU over UCLA.
All right, me too. I got that one. Here's an interesting game due to a lot of injuries in Utah. Utah versus Oak State.
I'm going to give it to the Utes. I'm going to go with Utah over Oklahoma State. Yep, I'm going to give it to the Utes.
There's nothing. Hey, we love some boldness because you never know, especially right now in college football. All right,
yes,
huge game, Tennessee, Oklahoma.
I think Tennessee pulls it out against Oklahoma for sure.
Oh, yeah. Kansas State goes to BYU.
Now, this is a crazy one here, Jay, and I'm crazy for this, but I'm going with BYU with the upset over K-State. Yeah, I'm going there. They're tough, they're scrappy, and even though they have some injuries, I don't know, something in my intuition. I'm going with my intuition on this one, Jay. BYU over K-State.
All right, I appreciate that. Right, then we go to Middle Tennessee State, bringing in Duke, unbeaten Duke, the only unbeaten team in the ACC.
I got to go with another former Tiger and Willie Simmons, so I'm going with Duke Blue Devils over Middle Tennessee State.
All right, there we go. There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Next game up is Miami going to USF. I always want to say UCF. I'm sorry, but USF, the Bulls.
That'd be tough to go down there and play, but I think Miami will pull that out as well.
All right, the next game we have is going to be Furman going to William & Mary this weekend.
I'm going to keep it in state, and I'm going with Furman with the upset over William & Mary.
All right, that sounds good. I'd love to get a knockout number 12 in the FCS. All right, next game after that is Vandy versus Missouri.
Vandy definitely doesn't have enough of Mizzou, so I think Mizzou pulls that one out.
All right, and then finally we go to our game of the week. NC State comes into Death Valley. Who's going to take this one?
Oh, we're going to beat them down in the Textile Bowl. Of course, I got my Clemson Tigers over NC State in Death Valley. 35-14 is my score prediction for that one.
All right. Well, Aries, we appreciate you being a part of our guest pick of the week for TGFF Game Day, and definitely be keeping in touch with you. This has been our guest picker brought to you by The Point RV at Hartwell Lake. Aries Curry, make sure you go catch him on Facebook and also at catchthissports.com.
Man, Jay, that was another crazy, interesting segment on that, my guy. I just don't know what to say. So, but that's our show. That's what we do. So, and it's also what we do now. We're getting ready to talk to you guys and give you guys the updates on our Mountain West as well. That's a new segment to our show this week. We're going to be adding new conferences, trying to get as many of them out there as we can. Jay, we appreciate all of our guys giving us the information about the Mountain West as well. So look forward to seeing that this week. And then the next up, we'll do have our picks later on in the show. But again, thanks so much for the for the Mountain West picks this week.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mountain West part of our TGFF Game Day. Of course, Sidelines Sports New Mexico will be taking over this particular part of the show. But for today, I'm going to be taking the realms for him and helping him out. Of course, this week, not a lot of games Mountain West-wise, but we're going to go over them real quick. The first game, of course, is Friday night game. It's going to be San Jose State heading to Washington State and playing. Give me San Jose State over Washington State, even though it's in Washington. Give me San Jose State. Then we got Eastern Washington heading to Nevada. Give me Nevada in this game. Nevada is really starting to come into themselves and getting where they need to be. Give me Nevada in this game. UTEP goes to Colorado State. Colorado State limping into this game after being thoroughly embarrassed by the Colorado Buffaloes and Deion Sanders after all the trash talk that happened for a year. I think it's just a spiral. Give me UTEP over Colorado State. Next game we have up is going to be Wyoming going to North Texas. Give me Wyoming. Wyoming's a team that's intriguing me. I think they have a great chance of creating a spark and some interest. I mean, they're not going to be a top team, but I think Wyoming is going to be respectable. Give me them over North Texas. The next game up is going to be Fresno State versus New Mexico. Give me the Lobos. That's right. Give me New Mexico Lobos. I think they got a chance to pull this game out, help their record, help their season. I think New Mexico's on a trajectory to get themselves better. They just got to just take the time to get everybody in the right spots. Next thing I have is Portland State going to Boise State. And I tell you what, I personally think that Boise State's going to be the toughest team in the Mountain West. Give me Boise State taking this game and just pulverizing Portland State. And then we got a special Sunday game. That's right, at 12 a.m. basically then at the end of the night, but it's going to be at midnight. We got Northern Iowa going to Hawaii. I tell you what, this could be a very interesting game. Who doesn't want to go to Hawaii? I'd be signing up my college every time I turned around trying to go play in Hawaii just because of the fun you can have there. You know, I know you go there on business, but I mean, why not go to Hawaii? Give me Hawaii in this game. Hawaii at midnight beats Northern Iowa. Of course, this game probably over about 3 or 4 in the morning. So for those people that are on the West Coast watching, I'm sure you're going to enjoy that. But anyway, that's our Mountain West games of the week this week, and it is brought to you by Pepsi Cola.
JJ, welcome back, man. It's another good day at the office. We're time of the show where we're going to be doing our picks of the week, as y'all can see down there on the list. We're going to be going through all these games again this week. Thanks again for putting that list together. Thanks again to our Mountain West guys, too, for giving us the Mountain West information this week. So, Jay, it's time to get started. We're going to start here in the Big Ten. So let's just get to it. Illinois, Nebraska, Cornhuskers, really playing well right now. I'm kind of starting to fall in love with them a little bit, but what's your thoughts on it?
Very simple. I think Nebraska takes this game and wins it handily. I think it's going to probably be no less than 13 points Nebraska over Illinois.
Yeah, also give me the Cornhuskers as well. I'm going to pick them. I think they're playing really good football right now, Jay, and they got a quarterback who's really, really good. So, I mean, can't go wrong with them. So, picking the Huskers on that one. Next up we're going to do is our Coastal and UVA game. Now, this one's really interesting for me, Jay. I think I had a really tough time picking this one. So, I'm going to let you start out with this one, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on it.
Very simple. Coastal Carolina is turning into a powerhouse in the state of South Carolina. Actually, they have in the last 5 years, Coastal Carolina has more wins in the state of South Carolina than Clemson, South Carolina, and any other team. So Coastal Carolina is really turning the tails. Virginia's gotten a lot better, but they're not that much better. I am taking Coastal in this game by 10 points.
I got you, man. So I did it on our show last night. Anthony Calandri is my guy up in Virginia, but man, is that dude just another little mini Brett Favre is what I called him last night on the show. 5 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions already for him at the quarterback position at UVA. So, give me to take him another 2 interceptions this week and give me the shots up this week. So, looking forward to what Tim Beck and those guys are doing down there at Coastal Carolina. So, shout out to the shots this week. But it's another indictment kind of on the ACC too, though, Jay. It's another team that's kind of struggling to find themselves right now a little bit. So we'll kind of see how Virginia continues to grow as the year gets on. So, but next up, man, it's a really big one. Michigan, USC, first ever Big Ten matchup for USC. So, former powerhouse Michigan, say former because Harbaugh not there no more and they're not cheating anymore. So, former powerhouse. But give us the thoughts on this one, Jay. Trojans or Michigan right now, or the Wolverines?
Right now, I think Michigan is struggling, and I think USC is starting to come back. Give me USC over Michigan. I'm not going to give a points on this game. I just think it'll be a straight-up win.
I do too. I really like what USC is doing right now. Their quarterback's playing at an all-time level right now. It might be really, if they start continuing to play the way they're playing, it might end up being a dark horse for the Heisman too, Jay. So he's really playing super good football right now. And looking forward to that game, though. I mean, Michigan's defense is still playing well, but their offense is struggling. So we'll see how that one turns out. But give me the Trojans in this one. So we're going to head back to the ACC again now, Jay, and Georgia Tech and Louisville, man. This one's getting really interesting after what the Jackets did to Florida State in week 0, I guess we call it. I call it week 1. But, this one's another good one. I'm excited to watch this one as well. Do we know what Louisville is right now? They haven't really played much of anybody yet, so this might be their first real test at home against the Jackets. So who do you got this week for that one?
Give me Georgia Tech over Louisville.
Ooh, that's going to be the upset pick of the week for Jay. I like it. So that's a tough one, man. I really do like this game. I think the Jackets are playing really well. They're obviously off to a good start, 2-1. Louisville's just playing at a really good level right now too, but we just really don't know much about them yet. But give me still Louisville at home. They are still one of my picks to make the ACC championship game at this point. So give me the Fighting Pizzas is what I call them, the Fighting Papa Johns. Give me them. Give me them this week for that game. So I think it's going to be a good thing for them to showcase for us who they really are. I think they're going to show, who they can be this week. So really looking forward to that one. But the next one we're going to go to UCLA and LSU. So we got the Bears against the Tigers. So which one's going to be the that matchup, Jay?
LSU got very lucky last week coming out of South Carolina. UCLA is still trying to find itself, but I think LSU takes this game, and I think it's probably going to be by 10 points also in this game.
Okay, so you got the Bruins in this one.
No, I got LSU in this one.
Oh, you got the Tigers on this one. Okay, yeah, I was going to say, I'm taking, give me the Tigers too. I don't think UCLA is really ready for that type of speed on defense that they're going to see at LSU. So, yeah, give me the Tigers on that one. So the next one's really going to be another good one, too. A good matchup there for OK State and Utah. So who do you got down there for us this week, Jay? That's a big one.
I'm going to take OK State in this game. I think Utah's just got, with their quarterback issue right now and everything else, they just have not looked like the Utah that everybody thought they was going to be. OK State, I think, is just going to be too much for them. But give me OK State in this game.
Yeah, give me the Cowboys, too. I really think they are playing at a high level right now. I really think, my early season pick was to have OK State and Kansas State, as my two picks for the Big 12. So I'm going to still stick with those two teams. I think those two teams are playing the best football right now. So, yeah, give me the Cowboys again this week. I think they're gonna win with the issues that Utah's having at quarterback. So, and then we got another big one in the SEC now. These are two heavyweights, Tennessee and Oklahoma, Sooners versus the Volunteers. So, who do you got this week for that one, Jay?
I love Brent Venables. I think Oklahoma's going to be a good team, but they are not going to be able to compete with Tennessee. Tennessee in this game by 14 or more.
So you think that Amali Ava might be sneaking into the Heisman with this game? Is that what you think? You can see that?
All I'm saying is Tennessee is going to have a field day against Oklahoma.
So in the spirit of the Tennessee, Oklahoma, and the Clemson NC State game, give me Brent Venables, man. I can't pick against the Brent Venables defense, bro. So Give me the Sooners, man. Boomer Sooner all the way this week. Let's round up the wagons and let's go ahead and take them out this week. So let's see who really Tennessee is, and I think they're a team that's really good, but I also think they're a team that's prone to lose games that they shouldn't lose. So I think this is going to be the week that we get to see them lose a game that they shouldn't lose. So give me the Boomers. I'm a big Boomer fan. My family's Boomers, so give me the Boomers on that one. Next up, Jay, man, we got another great matchup. So it's always a good time to be able to head down to Kansas State. We got a really good time with them last year at the Pop-Tarts Bowl. Really good fan base. K-State, BYU. Let's talk about that one.
K-State by a mile.
Yeah, man. You don't think they're still chocolate. You don't think their stomachs are full of Pop-Tarts still left over from last year, bro?
No, Kansas State wins this game big.
Yeah, give me the Wildcats, too. I think they're going to end up being the better team. I don't know that BYU is really ready for that physical up-style offensive line, and Avery's playing really well for K-State, so shout out to them this week. So next up, we're going to do Duke and Middle Tennessee State, Jay. So back to the ACC, two blue teams. So which blue team do you have winning this one?
Give me Middle Tennessee State over Duke in this game. I think it's going to be one of those games that's not going to be pretty to watch, but when it's all said and done, Middle Tennessee State gets the win.
Middle Tennessee State, let's go. I can't pick Duke. Can't ever pick Carolina. You know me by now. Y'all know enough about me. I'm an NC State guy. I can't pick Duke. So give me Middle Tennessee State. Hopefully they win by like 30. I'm kind of tired of hearing the Duke here in the triangle talk. Everybody's talking about how they're the only undefeated team, still left. And I'm like, nah, we're good, So, yeah, give me them this week. But next up, we're going down south, Jay. We're heading down to South Beach. We talked about this one a little bit earlier. Miami and South Florida. Who do you think is going to be in the battle of the Bulls and the Hurricanes?
Well, the underdog guy picked UCF over Miami in an upset. I'm going to go with him. Give me UCF in an upset over Miami. Even though part of me says Miami's going to win it by 10, give me UCF.
Okay.
USF, I'm sorry. USF.
Yeah, the Bulls are going to be the team of the week for me. Miami does this every year. I'm really kind of tired of them, propping themselves up only to just fall from grace. It's a recurring theme for them every year. They're top 10 now. Everybody's talking about it. It's one of those things. It's Cam Ward. But I'm going to tell you guys about a quarterback that you haven't really heard of, man. And Byron Brown is from the great state of North Carolina. Give me Byron Brown and the Bulls this week as well. So I'm taking the upset in that one. So that's going to be mine. And then, Jay, we're heading back down your way, man. Your town, your country. We're going to do the Furman and Bill and Mary this week. That's what I call them. It's William and Mary, but it's the Bill and Mary game this week.
William and Mary, like me and John was talked about, ranked number 12 in FCS, taking on Furman, who's not ranked right now, but we hope to get back in there, and we're going to do that by taking out number 12, William and Mary. Furman wins by 3.
Can't pick I can't pick the Orange this week, so Bill and Mary from Orange. England, can't go with them. I got to go with the Furman. FU all the way. That's going to be my pick of the week. Just went down there last week, saw what Furman's new quarterback is doing. Tons of weapons for Furman. Give me them this week and a big win for them. So we're going back to the SEC now, Jay. Surprise, surprise. Vanderbilt here they are, undefeated. Let's go with Vandy and Missouri this week.
I'd love to say Vandy. I mean, they're coming a long way, but they're just not there. Missouri got lucky last week against Boston College, but I still think Missouri's still too good. And give me Missouri in this game by at least 13 points.
Give me the Tigers. I'm an Eli Drinkwitz guy. I used to be a big offensive coordinator here at NC State. Give me all the guys that are connected to NC State this week. Tim Beck, Eli, give me them all. So that's going to be my pick for the week. And then, Jay, last but not least, Don't even get me started on what you're wearing today. I already know who you're going with, but it's the big game of the week. The official rivalry, which Clemson fans don't acknowledge since we don't really typically win a lot, but the Textile Bowl is going to be held at Death Valley at 12 o'clock on Saturday, Jay. Let's get to talking about the Tigers and the Wolfpack.
Well, first of all, as you see, I'm rotating because this is what the NC State quarterback, the freshman, is going to be seeing a whole bunch of Tiger Paw all around him in this particular game. And I'm going to tell you right now, our defense is ready. We are healthy. We are looking good after whooping Appalachian State. We are ready to feed on some wolf. Give me Clemson with the points this week. The points is like 20 plus. Oh my goodness. This is not even going to be close. Well, it's going to be close to the first quarter because NC State hadn't touched the ball yet. But after that, it's all Tigers. We give Dave Dorn. Oh, wait a second. What's this? Dave Dorn. Got the cigar. He's not going to be smoking a cigar. Dabo's going to be smoking that cigar this week because he's going to put a hurting on that solo coke drinking, ciggy smoking head coach.
Jay, this one's one that I always love. The last 3 games have been decided by 10 points or less. So this is another matchup, that's always really good for us to watch and see how these two teams stack up because they know each other so well. So, ultimately it's going to be a day game. So I'm hoping that the Tigers are going to be sleeping, but I don't think they're going to be sleeping too long. So this game probably stays close for a first half, maybe first half of the second quarter as well, or third quarter as well. But I think Clemson's going to be able to get the win in the fourth quarter, just like they did the last time NC State went down to Death Valley. It was really close as well until the fourth again. So I didn't take the same score. It was 30-20 the last time NC State went down to Death Valley, but I'm going to take the Tigers this week, 31-17. I think State does cover. The line's dropping now after all the information coming out this week. So it's back down to like 17-18 now. So, ultimately nobody really knows because we haven't seen enough of C.J. Bailey to really make a determination on whether he's going to be good or not. But, we'll be able to take a good look at this game next week, and I'm excited to kind of do the rewind on that one. But this game, again, is at 12 o'clock, noon Eastern, and we look forward to getting in touch with that one, and we look forward to looking at it again next week, Jay. So those are our picks of the week, guys. We appreciate you guys tuning in as well.
Wait. I'm told Bobby's got his pick.
Gosh.
Oh, mercy. He's picking on this game.
Oh, please. Seriously?
Hello, everybody. It's Uncle Bobby. Here to let you know that I am running for president. That's right. I'm tired of everybody. I'm tired of everything. I'm going to be president. And with me, Clemson Wine Bar will be the place for my debates. That's right, I'll debate anybody at Clemson Wine Bar as long as I got me an adult beverage. Anyway, I just want you to know Uncle Bobby is running for president. Make sure you vote for Uncle Bobby. And pretty soon I'm going to name my VP. Could it be Leonardo DiCaprio? Well, I don't know. Maybe it'd be my boy Chewy. I don't know. But Uncle Bobby's going to be running for president. Make sure you follow me on TGFF every game day.
Jay, I don't even know what to say, man. Can we just, do you have anything to lock this guy up with? Can we just not have him on a show?
I was against Bobby till he made this pick. That was perfect. Bobby, who's brought to us by Clemson Wine Bar. I tell you what, I might go to Clemson Wine Bar tonight because you know what? Bobby must be getting some great inspiration. I love his pick. And, hey, he made fun of Bobby Dorn. I never heard of Bobby Dorn. That was hilarious. Bobby Dorn has been on our show and morphed into Uncle Bobby Sweeney.
Yeah, Jay, I think he's spending too much time at the wine bar. I'm just going to throw it out there. So I think Crazy just is doing crazy things. So, but always check out the Clemson Wine Bar. That's your great spot for all your great wines. They do a great job over there. They also have a lot of great food too. So check them out. But that's going to wrap it up this week, guys. We really appreciate y'all tuning in again. So we're going to be back again next week. And we look forward to what another great week and another great show. So let's go college football. That's all I can say. I love it.
TGFF, pick up a football. Game day. 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 You have tuned in to another episode of Thank God for Football, brought to you by the Fanboys, powered by Greenville Sports Media.